Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu. Welcome to our channel. And today we will discuss radionics on electromagnetic fields, home and water with ML Wade Shelbourne. So let's continue. So before we dive in the real interview, I would like you to just quickly go with me about what is Jing, Qi, and Shen in the Chinese medicine. So these are the three fundamental concepts in traditional Chinese medicines and Taoist practices. And Taoism is a kind of practice and principles which Emil applies in his life and in his lifestyle. And often in like Jing is translated as essence, and Jing represents the foundational substance of life. It is associated with our physical body, the reproductive energy, and vitality. And Jing is considered to be the source of our life force. It is closely related to our genetic inheritance. Practices such as Qigong, Tai Chi, they aim to cultivate and preserve Jing. And there are really nice, some of Tai Chi for beginners on YouTube, which if you want to practice at home for achieving mindfulness or heartfulness. And Qi is commonly translated as the vital force or breath. So it refers to the dynamic energy that flows through our body. And it could be, if you have seen the latest video of Dr. Tom Coven, that oxygen and nitrogen dioxide is what we breathe in. So oxygen actually gives us, the blood, a negative charge, and it could be referred to as we are breathing electricity. Though this is another thing, another tangent I just went on. Anyways, she is essentially for maintaining health, vitality, and balance, and practices such as acupuncture. Then again, acupuncture and acupressure are different things, and acupuncture is again involving electro electricity and the meridians and magnetic fields. Herbal medicines, depending upon how they are made, organic, or if their radionics has been performed on the herbal medicines. Then breath work focuses on balancing and harmonizing the chi. So a lot of asthmatic patients or those who are suffering with flight and fight mode, stressful situations, they can calm their vagal nerves through these exercises and practices. And then Shen is often translated as the mind spirit, or just, your mental thoughts and your soul. It encompasses our consciousness, emotions, spiritual essence, and Shen represents our higher self, intuition, connection to God and divine. And practices such as meditation, mindfulness, and inner cultivation aims to nourish Shen. So for Muslims, here there would be your daily prayers and your adhkar and connecting with God, and self recognition, self awareness, being well aware of your behavior towards others, towards the earth, towards animals, and towards yourself. So these three treasures, the Cheng, Qi, and Shen, they interact and influence each other, contributing to our overall well being, whether mentally, physically, and our vitality. And they are integral to both physical health and spiritual development from the Chinese medicine. So let's dive into our interview.
Question of with radionics, what are the limits to radionics?
Yeah.
The limits are what's placed on the individual practitioner mentally. You could see that with people that look at different ways of thinking, especially outside of the extreme material world. Well, how can this work? How can that work? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they need reasoning, tangible reasoning for everything. Yeah.
It's an extreme masculine logic area, which I love logic. I spent a lot of my life in that realm of thinking. But it's not a balanced or harmonious state. So with radionics, what we do is we're looking to mitigate and neutralize any negative information coming with whether it's EMF or photons, however we're getting the information.
Mhm.
And we're trying to balance and enhance the more positive aspects.
Mhm.
This is done in the unseen areas.
So before we move on to our question, I just want to touch base a little bit. When you say imprint, so imprint in the world of physics is totally different than the imprint like a DNA or the thumbprint, uh, which biometrically we use in the hospitals. Is it totally different imprint? What do you talk about?
My reference of the imprint is information is imprinted physically. So your DNA, imprint of how you are decoding the energies around you. And it's a cellular communication. So the DNA is giving the information that it's obtaining through photonic light, probably sound, and electric and magnetic, probably all five of those uh, energies that are in every cell. So when you are not working at a highly energetic state, your cells are opaque and it's like a cloud or a fog. So the light projection information is not, that energy and information is not getting to your cells at 100% clarity because they're foggy. So that's one of the experiments we do, is trying to make your cells less opaque, more clear, so that the light can come through.
Mm,
It'll make a much more effective circuit.
nice. There's so many.
So there's Korean acupuncture studies,
Yeah.
and they deal with DNA as light in the meridian system. It's more of a light source. That's why you can't, light source of information exchange. That's why it's very hard right now with many mechanical scientific instruments to chart out the meridian lines in a human being.
Right.
Whereas there's many charts.
Acupuncture also, I'm sorry, the acupuncture also forms a circuit when with the device and the whole electrics.
Yeah, there's the yin yang circuits,
Yeah.
and there's coupled organs.
Yeah.
One is yin, one is yang. One, the flow generally goes up, one, the flow generally goes down. If in the circuit where the battery packs are, your biological battery packs are blocked or burnt out, so
Mhm.
it's just as, it can be just as harmful to over exercise as it is to under exercise. For instance, you may burn out that your circuits in one lifestyle, or you may stagnate in another. But when that circuit, the battery circuit in the circuits turn off, they switch their polarity. They've drained in energy, so they can't turn back on. So that's how the circuits stop in layman's terms. They're not getting enough energy to complete the circuit. Now, other batteries along the battery pack in those circuits, as long as they're healthy, will keep generating, but that's where you get more fatigue and
Mhm.
less performance out of your physical body. You can,
Yeah.
and it's similar to the so-called immune system.
Mm.
So when the immune system switches polarity, so
Mhm.
I believe there's obviously there's a large connection between meridians and what we call the immune system, the energy exchange system.
Mhm.
That's in our on our worksheets. There's always a switch polarity, which is the third thing we do after we check general vitality of any body,
Right.
even in a home. It doesn't matter. Any area can be looked at as a living body.
Right.
It's a body network, whether it's how soils work underground to create nourishment, or the relationship between atmosphere and soil, or the relationship of your heart, lungs, mind, and your
This is
body.
mesmerizing because as a physicist or somebody from a physics background can understand these things quite easily, but coming from a chemistry background, I would say, like we discussed, that probably the ATPs are forming a circuit in the body when they circulate in the bloodstream, and probably the mitochondria is acting as a tiny batteries in the body, and the muscle a pain is related to lactic acid release. And a lot of things what you say is I can just imagine in a chemistry world as something with molecules, but I've never looked at it, or I never looked at a body in with perspective to quantum physics. So I'm
Oh,
sure
and the chemistry, like those are ATP, GDP,
yeah,
ADP, those in mitochondria, that's all a battery pack system
yeah,
and circuits. And
yeah,
when those get overwhelmed and burnt out, your cells, so you can look at the world in different ways,
exactly.
right? So one thing that inspired me years ago was to look at as small as I could and build out from there with the understanding of microcosm, macrocosm.
Mm,
You can, when I was younger, I looked more macrocosm down. And there's always that in the human experience, if you're curious about what is actually happening mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, you
yeah,
have to always keep going back and forth. Not one is better than the other. They work in tandem if you
right,
have more complete understanding. Now, consciousness is is a big part of that, is based out of that energy that I talked about, however it's labeled, chi prana,
mm,
whatever. So consciousness, how we work is out of coming from the consciousness down, you're collapsing possibilities. So but consciousness only goes so far. It's the most important aspect of being a human, I believe. Yet, if you don't have awareness, consciousness is useless, right? So you can have all the consciousness that you want, but if you don't know how to decipher what information that you're getting in your field is, it's not useless, but it's not extremely helpful.
right.
It's good enough
What
to get you by.
Right. What other terms, allegorically or metaphorically, would you use for consciousness? Just for a non-professional person listening to this.
So you can look, it depends, like with Qigong or Tai Chi and these, the Jing, Qi, Shen ideas. And it depends on the context you're talking about in those arts, obviously. But many words for Shen could be your consciousness, it could be intellect,
Mm. Could
um,
it be imagination,
imagination is a part of it. Yeah.
visualization?
That's so imagination with visualization is um, using your sight sense.
Right,
And through that, so when you visualize something, then if you practice that, you can create sensations in your hands. You can heat your body or cool it down. So you can work the senses that way. There's
right.
many, depends on how you want to cut the pie, but there's many ways to do it. Oh, okay, one thing as a chemist, what is alchemy?
Mm,
Alchemy was an older form of chemistry with the AL was taken out, or EL, or however in the word magic it is. They took spirit out of studying chemistry.
absolutely, yeah.
Created modern day chemistry. Yeah. Now, when you're using imagination and consciousness and Shen and Qi to help your body, your physical body, which you have the ultimate respect for, ideally, because that is what home is, housing your spirit.
Mm,
You're cultivating these different aspects with your mind and energy for better health and well-being.
yeah.
So that's inner alchemy, where you're using all sorts of things, thought, intention, movement, to enhance the body that you're given, that allows you to experience this world. So with another important thing, that with radionics, your only limit really is the limits that you put on yourself. Apply that to anything in your life and ask yourself, is what I'm doing, no matter how big or small it might seem to friends, family, whoever, society, are the techniques or thoughts or beliefs that I'm incorporating in this experience, is it helpful?
Mm-hmm.
If so, does it work? And maybe you want to understand how do I apply it? Those are the only three questions you really need. So
Wow.
it can work in both ways. It can either build up what you're doing,
Yeah.
or if you're honest, you can say, okay, maybe this isn't serving me anymore. Which
Right.
is, both ways are just as important. It depends on where you're at in life.
Right.
Something that served you well yesterday, if you're growing in this experience, may not serve you today. And do you have the courage, strength, bravery to let that go?
Yeah. So there is so much, because as a lay person, everybody wants to know reality, and everybody can create their own reality. I think through these practices, and it depends where they want to live, in what consciousness they want to live in. So that would be very different from every individual in every community, in every household, and we hope this knowledge goes to everybody where they can create their good, happy place, hopefully.
Should reiterate again that radionics is not a medical device. It's not a healing device. It's nothing like that. All my worksheets or intake forms make that very clear. I don't have much use personally for corporate medicine, corporate government or politics,
Okay.
corporate religion. I think those are all
Yeah.
shackles, essentially.
Yeah.
But so what I learned was through experimentation and then applying those questions. Does it work? Is it helpful? Um, through experimentation in the natural world, not some sanitized lab,
Mm.
which, if you think about it, has little to do with any human being or animal or plant, right? So we do experiments. People are engaged with that. I do a fairly long intake and talk quite a bit, spend a lot of time, learn what do you want to gain? What do
Mm.
you want to look at? It's not up to me to tell you.
Mm.
My
Right.
my teachers, when I was traveling in the more esoteric and shamanistic ways, the way to look at people's well-being or how they experience this world was to open up spirit,
Mm.
which in physics will go to those elusive measurements of chi and prana or whatever labels are
Yeah.
put on them.
Yeah.
So for me, my job is always to basically communicate to you, give you information in your information fields
Mhm.
that you can have permission to heal yourself. You trust the body to fix itself. And that's where miracles occur. They shouldn't even be called miracles. That's just how degenerate
Mm.
the human consciousness is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're so if you go to a doctor in Canada, say, you're going to probably go into a room with in a certain mindset, in a certain vibration. That's probably not bravery. It's probably more fear or
Yeah.
low. Now you're going to be told what to do.
Told,
You're going to
follow.
be given something. There'll be no communication of what your culture is, where you're at, mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, spiritually.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, in our way, is wrong. It's a blockage, and it's another giving away your own power. So first and foremost, it's how do we imprint or communicate or share the information that actually you are all you need. Yes, I deal with vitamins and minerals, nutrition,
Yeah.
exercise, all those things, and that is part of it, but they will not have a long-term, highly beneficial effect if you don't understand the spirit aspect.
I think doctors are not even taught nutritherapy or nutrition in medical school anyway. So yeah.
Oh, I've talked to doctors and over the last few years that online conferences
Yeah.
and discussed ATP.
Oh,
They
so talking about.
we heard about that years. I should have, pharmacists and this and that. Spend a few days on that,
Yeah.
but never again. Thank you for bringing that up again. And I'm thinking, holy smokes.
Yeah, that's how it is.
But it's not a judgment either, because I'm very careful not to go to war with anything, including I don't like corporate medicine.
Yeah.
That's the imprint on me. But I am not going to diss it. There is a time and a place for that, and I work with doctors. I've had some good experiences
Yeah.
that are kind of mind blowing to the
Yeah.
average person. They don't understand what actually goes on. Some people in these institutions, but sometimes you get somebody that is open to working together, and you see people's lives change.
Yeah.
Extreme.
Yeah. So some of the doctors coming out from the MBBS training, they're the ones that when they start finding truth, then they come into naturopathy and other alternate healing fields, and they do wonders. Like they come up with them. I don't want to take names right now, but yeah.
Almost any innovation in the so-called alternative, which most of the world still uses, for one simple fact, they can't afford this corporate medicine, right? That's most human beings.
Yeah.
You will not know that if you live in a North American city glued to a television, right? But the fact of the matter is, most innovations, and quite often they get suppressed because they actually work, come from people that were in the system.
Yeah.
The system failed them. They were on death's door. So they had to figure something out on themselves, for themselves. So they created, like Mike, he's going to lose his feet, amputate, didn't want to do that. Okay, I know about light and sound and how it works with the cells. Regenerate the tissues. Regenerate the cells, regenerate the tissues. Like there's that chain of command in the body that goes from the very small to
A lot of things.
organ to organ system and all the way up. And most people don't apply that knowledge.
Yeah, and they don't want to come out of this box. You just have to come out of the box and think that just reading on Google or on something WebMD is saying that it has no treatment. It's gonna degenerate and that's it. There's no treatment. How do you just accept it, or you still want to find a treatment? So depends on how big you want to think. So I think, can we start our question now? The first one I would like you to talk about is how can radionics be applied to balance and mitigate the effects of electromagnetic fields within a household environment, particularly the urban city houses?
So the point of the radionics is to mitigate negative energies or negative frequencies or rates, as we call them. So with a measurement of what's going on in your home, you see what the priorities are, what is out of balance. And then that's step one. Step two is to elevate and balance out those negative, harmful frequencies or rates to your body or environment. So first of all, we'll check the rates to see what's going on and then rebalance them.
So, are there specific frequencies or energetic signatures associated with balanced and healthy EMF levels? And how do you tailor radionic treatments to address individual homes or structures?
So when you know what's going on, and we have at our disposal, I use a few different books, thousands of rates.
Mhm.
So we'll work with that in the different wells. Continue to try to balance, say, our numbering system. We try to get anything that's negative or harmful to a zero vitality. And you'll want to enhance healthier rates as high as you can go.
So the rates are actually measuring what? I'm again thinking in a tangible way, but rates are raised or fields or.
The rates are what some people call frequencies.
Okay.
There's a different frequency to a bacteria. All different types of bacteria all have different frequencies. Basically, that's what animating anything in life is, the rate or frequency.
And then you adjust them if they're not in proper range.
Yes.
Wow. So can you share examples or case studies where radionics has been successfully used to harmonize the electromagnetic frequencies in homes, and what measurable improvements were observed?
One I could share that I just got yesterday, a testimonial, was with somebody who wanted their house checked. They had a radon detector and it measured high.
Mhm.
So I used our whole house analysis, did balancing, mitigated that radiation frequency and many others. Long story short, what the testimonial was, they have been checking the rates now since the worksheet, and it's about 80 or 90. So it went down from 250, 280, 220 to about 80 per cubic meter.
They are now doing it on their own with their.
Yeah, I did. I worked on their house to rebalance that. So why that potentially is important, some people come to me when they see that they have elevated rates in their home. Now, radon is a natural byproduct of uranium that's breaking down in the soil.
Oh
And
yeah,
it'll happen everywhere in Canada because of the temperature.
yeah.
So in the winter, it elevates. So
Okay.
with these concerns, some people will try, that know about this, will try our technique instead of hiring somebody to go in their house, fill in the cracks and fans and spend $3,000,
Hmm.
which works great for some people. And I would say people should look into that. Always look into radon if you live in Canada.
Yeah. Well, some
So
people
it
they
was
live near
measured.
places. Sorry. Some
If
people they do live near places where there's a lot of nuclear radiation sometimes, and they are not aware of it. So, would you tell them to do the same with their house, or just?
Yes. So when we go through the worksheets, there's many things we check for and see how vibrant that frequency is or that rate is. And then we'll give you the analysis and you can go from there. So if you, like one example is we did water tests in Northern Alberta, and it wasn't on the sheet
Mhm.
originally, but I've added it, is lithium.
Mhm.
Large amounts of lithium were added to some municipal waters we found through doing these experiments.
Do you mind if I share the worksheet? Um, I've got two of them. There's in-house analysis and then water analysis. So could we quickly go on
Sure.
the house analysis one first?
So going back to the radon item, was for the people that need to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
That was measured by the same detector a few weeks ago. The only thing that changed in between was the worksheet analysis and rebalancing
Mhm.
the home to now,
Right.
cut to safe levels, went from danger level to safe level.
So
Measured with material
yeah.
mindset detector. So
Mhm. And I can see like -1 is 79 and the locks are 110. So what is this -1 show us? Is it the polarity which you measure? Could be wrong.
so this sheet, we start with the general vitality, the vial numbers. So we use distilled water, glass vials imprinted with the frequencies. There's different radionics machines that do the frequencies on these big boards. Um, this is the system we use. So those vial numbers are, we have hundreds of preset rates in the distilled water
Mhm.
vials. So the vitality will tell you how vital is that body? So
Right.
on this sheet, we do that with the home body. -1 are negative thoughts, projections, curses, spells, entities.
Mhm.
So we check that not just with humans, but everything. So those types of frequencies, how vital are they in the home? That should be close
Negative
to zero
one
if possible.
will also include evil eye if there is any.
Yeah.
Okay. And then locks.
Locks is how strong is that locked in?
Okay.
So if that's say 0 to 50, it's a lower number. If it's 250, that means that those rates are there, and it's going to probably be difficult to entice those rates to increase and those entities to leave if it's an entity.
So these are jinn related entities, yes, spirit, the evil
It
spirit.
could be, yeah. Yeah, so with -1, those are that general um, area of different negative frequencies.
Mhm.
If that's a big problem, we'll break it down even. I won't, if that's low, I won't waste my time going through all the different types of
Okay.
entities it can be. But if it is, I can go look in all the rates, get your thoughts on it, and then be very precise.
Right.
I have one example is a client in Toronto sent some. You need pictures or dust bunny of your home, and then I can work at any time, anywhere in the world. That's how I'll get the imprint of that body. So I got
You need a picture of the house?
yeah, if somebody sent me a pic, that's what a lot of people do is send me a picture of their house, or if they need another body done that I could get off a good GPS picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's even better if you get something that's in there, like say collect dust bunnies, because that'll have the imprint frequency of what's going on in that home. So with that, they had an issue of renters in one room
Mm-hmm.
having very bad luck or going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So numerous people in a row had horrific episodes,
Okay.
I'll say.
Yeah.
So said, okay, that sounds like it could be something to do with possession. It's some type of energy is
Yeah.
out of whack. So that's why they contacted me. I did the worksheet, did the work on that place, and after that, sent the vial back because what we do with the house and the water is
Mm-hmm.
imprint the frequency rates that will harmonize your home into the vial, send it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you add for the home to the grounding of your electrical box. And that will turn your electrical box into a harmonizer.
Mm-hmm.
And they could be updated yearly or when people feel like it. With water, it'd be in the water intake to your home, and it will communicate and restructure your water, mitigating, possibly mitigating negative frequencies in your water. So anyway, I sent back the vial. The client attached where they're told to, and following up a few weeks or a month later, everything in the house changed.
Mm.
And it's probably been a few years now, and nothing has happened. Now, here's the thing with experiments, which is really nice if you're in a curious human being.
Yeah.
With that, this client checked the history of what went on in that area of the
Yeah.
city in Toronto, and it happened to be um, some type of war ground, or there's mass killing went on there. I
Ooh.
think it's a battlefield. Hilo was built, and some people have lost that knowledge of
Yeah.
geopathic stresses and spirits sticking around, because some people some bodies may be confused and they might not even know that they're dead. So part of this is we can communicate. I'll send intentions of whether it's a fluke or an entity. Do you realize where you are, what this body is?
Mhm.
and you should not be here. And quite often, that's the intention. All it takes to uh, make a healthier frequency in that area. So, and in our home in particular, it's just an observation. It's not measured in a sterilized laboratory or
Yeah.
scientific building, but everyone that visits here, and we get people from all over, when they sleep here, the first thing they say when they wake up and come down for breakfast is, I haven't slept like that in years.
And I've been told that there were, the Native Americans and Aborigines in some of the areas around in Alberta who were massively killed in huge numbers. So,
Oh, all over. And a couple decades ago, or a long time ago, looking into different insults to humanity.
right.
One thing that was funny was not funny, but in a good way, was large Walmart centers were being built on ancient Indian burial grounds all over the United States.
Hmm, makes sense. Uh,
So, okay, switch polarities is turning that battery, switching the polarity of a battery. So allowing the energy, um, quite often the vocabulary from the inventor is the immune system. So turning that immune system on.
mhm.
So when your immune system, whether it's a home or body, is overwhelmed in a certain area, it'll turn off so it can direct its troops to what it can control.
Mhm.
And generally that polarity switch will never be turned back on unless you seek help for that. Non-harmonious are man-made frequencies like EMFs of
Oh,
Wi-Fi,
5G.
5G, different HARP,
Okay.
and mind control.
Mm. So the television and screens.
Yeah, you can see if some people's issues potentially might be they're under mind control uh, by their tendencies, and we can work directly in that way.
And what is master here? Like,
That's a combination of the previous four
oh,
structures. So how intertwined are these?
yeah,
How calcified is all these stressors? How difficult will it be break apart?
right, perfect. And the rest, I think everybody can understand those. Uh, Fungal and bacterial virus, mycoplasmas, yeah, chemical poisons, metal poisons, mold, black mold, radon gas. I think if you can elaborate a little bit this, what kind of gas is that? And yeah, gamma ray, water line, microwaves are in most of the houses used. Asbestos, yeah. So
Yes, and then depending on where you're at in this world, and if there's concerns in your town, your neighborhood, your province, what have you, those get communicated to me, and then I will look up the rates and manually enter them and check how strong or vital those are.
okay.
You'd be surprised if you've seen our rate books, how many uh,
I'm sure,
rates
yeah.
different. Yeah.
Absolutely, I would be. Because this is a lot of numbers. End of radionics on EMF and home. While in the next video, we will be talking about the radionics on water, and we will pull up a sheet on water analysis. And I hope you liked our video. So like, share, and subscribe, and see you in the next videos. Assalamu.